I prefer the school of life. In school, you're taught a lesson and then you're given a test. In life, you're given a test that will teach you a lesson. My time in Green School this past 11 years quite fits with this quote, because in Green School, we do not rely on a test. With this, Green School can be a school of life, yet there's so much more to learn and to be educated about in the real world. My Greenstone is based on a true story. It is based on my school of life. It's family, Mapantigan, and Green School. In other words to put, it is home, work, and mandatory education. It's not an easy thing to tell a true story. Everyone has a unique story, and we all have something we want to share in our own authentic ways. But a true story is special. It takes a lot of effort and honesty in telling a true story. That was definitely my challenge in telling the truth. It's not like writing a paragraph essay, structured 1,000 words in a very structured format. And through my Greenstone journey, I realized that it's not like that. It's difficult to say and to actually say that this is me. I was always scared to tell my true story. I was shy. I was scared of judgment. I was scared to be boring. But as far away as I tried to stay away from telling how I grew up, people always questioned me. People always question me in what I do. So these questions will start by asking me, why is your English so good? Is it your mother or is it your father the one that's bule? But I realized some of them just look from far away. It's like judgment from a distance. But I realized once they read my last name and they looked at how I actually look, they have a very different expression. So these questions inspired me to write a book about my journey, about my family creation, Mapantigan, about how, what, when, and who I've become growing up with the family creation. As many of you guys know in this room, I am fully Balinese. My father is from Singaraja and my mother is from Denpasar. My father's family, when my father turned 3 years old, they moved to Jakarta, in the capital city of Indonesia. Life during the time wasn't as easy. I remember my father told me a story that once his family couldn't buy oil to cook, that he had to eat burnt tempeh. So those stories really inspired me too. On the other hand, my mother moved from Denpasar to Bangli, very close to Mount Batur, just a 30 minutes traveled. My mom, during the time, had a very strict but kind principal father. She wasn't allowed to get out of the house. She had to stay in the house instead of going to school. And in the house, she had to be in her room at 7 o'clock, either studying or given a book by my grandfather. So a very strict life. After my father and my mother both graduated from high school, they moved to the same city. My father traveled back to Bali. So my mom and my dad met. They dated for 8 years, and then they got married, had my brother, and then had me. So here's where my true story begins. It starts with having an extraordinary father. When I say extraordinary, I mean out of the normal. You could say completely out of the ordinary. His passion for martial arts and the diverse, rich culture of Indonesia is so meaningful and so rich to him that he made something out of it. He created Mapantigan in 2003, and I was a year old. Mapantigan is a mixed martial art, Balinese culture based, played in the rice field mud. Yes, it was a crazy idea, and not everyone liked it, or especially the mud idea. They think maybe the mud is disgusting to play on. But there's a deep philosophy that we hold with mud. It is where our staple food grows, or where our rice grows. I remember the very first mud pit we had was at the Green School, right beside the sangkap. And this sangkap was called Mapantigan for a good 5 years. And it was always my favorite memory watching my father perform. Every full moon, we would have a performance right here. It would always be muddy, and every time a flipping happened scene, I would get splashes by the mud. It was my favorite childhood. In 2008, at 11 years old, I started to get involved. I started to help my father. I started to write the emails, did everything, and really contribute to the family creation. Now, at such a young age, this was not very easy, but it was a great challenge. In 2000, now going back, before I was involved, in 2008, my father created the very first World Mud Wrestling Championship at the Greenstone right here. It was a big event. It got recognized by the international communities. We had local reporters coming in, athletes from around the world. It was big. It was a dream come true. So it took my father 5 years to create his dream into reality. And the continuation created my career and continued what I love to do. So in this fun, amazing, chaotic life that I was living, I was helping my dad. We even had Kim Kardashian come to our place. It was, yes, it was definitely something very special to us. But through my journey, I didn't realize that it was a journey of finding my own passion. When COVID-19 hit, it was hard. Everything started to slow down. I remember one by one, I got emails of cancellation of bookings and everything. It wasn't very pleasant every time an email come in saying that, sorry, we postponed your booking or we canceled it due to COVID-19. It was not very nice to hear that. And with that, we need to have a big break, a big pause. And in that pause, I had a lot of fun, funny, and work talk with my father and my mother. But we still had to create an income for everyone that works for us. So we created the Mud Coffee and the Mud Culinary business. Now, don't get me wrong. We don't mix the coffee with the mud or cook the food with the mud. But it's a philosophy by putting the coffee inside a bamboo tube and burying it in the mud for 9 hours, giving a philosophy of blessing of Mother Earth. So with this, we opened our very first mud coffee place in the city, and then we moved it to this place, very beautiful waterfall close to Greenstone. Yeah. So with this, I started to get involved. I remember my dad saying, "This is yours, take full responsibility." I was only around 18 years old at the time. And it's not easy working with someone and having a coffee place, but I realized that that's where I found my passion, and that's what I like to do. And waking up made me excited every day with this. Before, I woke up feeling like it's hard to get out of bed. I felt like I was wearing a big size shoes where I had to wear it every day, that I got used to it, and I've been wearing that for many years. I mean, it has brought me to many amazing paths, but I realized that now it's my turn to do what I love and what is passionate for me. Greenstone led me to the realization, and Mapantigan brought me to it. I am grateful for this passage I have passed. So with this journey, I created a book. It is called Mud is My Life. It started with mud, the core foundation to the creation. Creating the dream into reality started my career. Yet it all started from a fantasy, a deep, meaningful vision. It has been such a rough and an inspiring journey writing this book. It was the honesty part that I was running away from. I was avoiding something that's really beautiful. 2 weeks before Greenstone, I realized and took the time to stop. I really took the time to work on it, to truly pause. I had the most inspiring chat with Ibu Saili. I looked at it from a perspective. It was like an enlightenment shock. So yes, this is me, and I'm not shy anymore to tell anyone that wonders about me. The answer to it all is in the book that I'm almost finished with, that I will be publishing at the end of the summer. So I would like to end my Greenstone with a little introduction to my book. It started with a dream, an imagination that seemed impossible to become reality. I never knew someone could dream that big and made it come true. Even more so, I never realized how someone else's dream could shape me to the person I am today. Thank you.